welcome to the Zandvoort Grand Prix. That's the Dutch GP. There are lots of things to look out for because this is the second part of the season. The mid-season break is over and we are back racing. Aside from being back racing, there are going to be lots of actions. First, let me give you a lot of shakedowns that are happening. Jack Doohan will be joining Alpine, partnering Pierre Gasly next year in Alpine. Now, we're having the whole grid bunch up, the whole grid shape up, and it's looking fantastic the way we are seeing this grid. For next year, we have 3 seats left. From what I'm hearing, I wanted to say Kimi Raikkonen. Kimi Antonelli. You know, when George Russell was asked yesterday about Kimi Antonelli's future partnering with him, he said, is it Kimi Raikkonen? So Kimi Antonelli should be announced in Monza. That will be a big one for the Italians, Italy, and Mercedes, and also for Kimi Antonelli's family. So let's hope that is done. So we have just 2 seats left. But those 2 seats left still looks like 3 seats because Helmut Marko has said Liam Lawson will be joining Red Bull next season. Now, joining Red Bull means the VCAB, that's the RB, and the Red Bull team itself. So, which team will Liam Lawson be joining? Because Helmut Marko is a big decision maker in F1 Red Bull. Which team will he be joining? Will he be joining RB? If he will be joining RB, which means the driver will be promoted. And if he will be joining Red Bull itself, which means Sergio Perez will be going. So, Sergio Perez is still having an imbalance, though he's having a contract for next year with Red Bull, but there's an imbalance there. And I'm sure, aside from the Mexican market, Liberty Media, and F1 trying to intervene, Red Bull should also start looking at where their next sponsor will be coming from. If you don't have sponsor and you want to chase one of the drivers that brings the biggest sponsors to you, well, you should have a lot of guts and a lot of sponsors coming in. And I'm sure Red Bull are already thinking about that. So they will be looking for the driver to bring the biggest sponsors in. That will be where their mind is. Their heart to be clinched to where their mouth is. Certainly. Now, also, Mercedes will be testing their upgrade that they de-upgraded in Belgium in the last race. They'll be testing that upgrade to see if it will work. Now, we know that the upgrade was not up to par, was not up to the expectation, and did not really perform because of the track and also the way the race panned out in Belgium. So now they'll be bringing the upgrades up and using it in Zandvoort today. But how will the upgrade run? How will they see the upgrade as to what they used in Belgium? Because if it's not working, it's not working. And it has to work. It has to work because if it's not working for them, it might be too late for them to start going back and going up and down to see how they can do the needful. But certainly it has to work. Because if it is not working, listen, it's not working. So Mercedes will be testing that. And also, I'm just trying to give you the lowdown of the news that have been. Pete Bonington, that's Bono, Lewis Hamilton's race engineer, will be promoted in Mercedes. Though he will not be living with Lewis Hamilton. He will be missing his friend. He will be going with him to Ferrari after a long journey, 12 years journey. Not that small, not that easy, but it was a long journey. And I think it's a great one for Pete Bonington advancing in the team and Lewis Hamilton going to Ferrari, possibly to win his 8th championship that was taken away from him in 2021. But how does that pan out until he gets to Ferrari? Because the Ferrari we are seeing now does not look catchy, does not look tasty, does not look like a Ferrari that will perform or do something great. But let's see. This is Formula 1. Anything can happen. But certainly, next year we'll start seeing what Ferrari can do. But Ferrari are looking at the mistakes they have made and why they were not on par or up to par in the last races. Why they have lost performance since Monaco. They've lost performance. They've brought upgrades that have not worked. And I liken their situation to Red Bull situation. Though there has been the Brembo braking or the braking asymmetry in which most drivers are or most teams are trying to cheat. A lot of people are saying is from Red Bull side or wide up. On the brake asymmetry in which drivers are and teams are trying to cheat the sport, trying to push the major part of the braking to one side rather than it going to either fully front or fully rear, in which they can brake more on the left than on the right or brake more on the right than on the left. So we don't know which team is cheating or trying to play with the FIA on that, but they have been clamped down on it, in which FIA have said they'll clamp down on it and make sure that is not happening because a lot of teams will make a gain from it. But certainly I think that is not the Red Bull problem or Ferrari's problem. Their problem is trying to get the right floor and the right coke shape rear that work with their design. That's what I see as their problem. They are not getting that right. Now, Red Bull have come with upgrades again, but they said this time the upgrades are better. These upgrades will look stunning, but what should the upgrade do? They've brought a new coke body shape, a coke engine cover for the car. So the coke engine cover is a C-spec. They are upgrading their halo for performance and their mirror. Then some other few tech upgrades have come on the Red Bull. But will these upgrades give them the opportunity to get to where they want to get to? Well, we don't know yet. This is a C-spec. 3-4 races ago, they brought a B-spec in which one of their drivers drove. But now, a C-spec. Also, what did Red Bull bring? Just those three. The three are for performance. But I think they need to work on the floor of that car. That I believe. Williams also brought upgrades. Yes. They brought performance upgrade, floor body, the diffuser, the side pod inlet, the coke engine cover, and also the central air intake. Those are what the Williams brought. The McLaren brought all performance upgrades except for the circuit specific, which is the rear wing and the beam wing. But the remaining that they brought are performance. That's the front suspension, the reprofiled it, the floor edge, and the rear corner. Also, VCAP brought upgrade, the rear corner for the VCAP, the upgrades for Alpine, front suspension, performance, and rear corner for performance also. We have us bringing upgrades. Yes, the front wings, the nose, front suspension, and the front corner. Those are the upgrades that were brought to this race. And on to Mercedes. Like I said, no upgrades, but Mercedes have brought the Belgium upgrades to see how it works. But it's going to be a rainy weekend. How will they manage that? Well, it's left for Mercedes to know how they will manage that. It is their own cup of tea, certainly, to manage it. But to Toto Wolff said he has always been carrying contract and biro ready to sign Max Verstappen ever since 2021. I doubt that, because I know that is a lie. He's overpainting that. He can't be carrying this since 2021. I think since early this year, he has been carrying the contract in his bag. He said he's taking it to the bedroom. Hope water didn't fall on it. Or have you been bathing with your rain jacket or raincoat? I don't know. I don't know. But he said he's been taking it everywhere he's going to, just to sign Max Verstappen. The contract he missed in 2016, he's trying to gain it in 2014. I think he might be able to sign in 2026. That's 10 years later. But let's see how that works out. Max Verstappen is not ready to leave Red Bull now because of uncertainty. And he needs to finish his championship in 2025 and then look at where he's going to next. But that, I think, would happen. He will look at where what will suit him better, and where will suit him better, and where he will be going to next. That's what I believe Max Verstappen will do, certainly. And also, yes, the hunt for us is back. Now, we know there are issues with Uralkali, that is Nikita Mazepin's father, the sponsor of us, then the Russian war, blah, 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 blah. Now, the Swiss court gave a judgment that us should pay back to refund $9 million back to Uralkali, in which they've not done. Now, bailiff and police are in Zandvoort. They don't want us to race. Now, us, they need to sort that out. Jagbe said they need to sort it out. Us need to sort that out. They need to make the payment, because if they don't make the payment, that car might be seized, and that will not be a good one for us. I believe us need to work on that and get that sorted out, because the FP1 is over. The FP2 will be coming. Qualifying tomorrow, race on Sunday. And you are looking at bailiffs and police right on your window to seize your car in a race. Oh my God. You have brought upgrades, certainly. Very, very crazy. That would be crazy. Now to the main FP1. Rain, go away. Start with the mist, rain. Luckily, the track dries faster. They had about 45 minutes of rain, in which some of the drivers ran intermediate and wet. 10 minutes to the end of the practice, we had some patches of dry, and these drivers came out on dry. And unfortunately, we had good times on board. Drivers breaking times, checking times, and we had Lando Norris. That is telling us that the McLaren are not backing down. Max Verstappen is there. Lewis Hamilton is there. That's the top three. And they are just 6/10 away from each other. The Ferraris are there, 7/10 away, which shows there will be a close qualifying. This qualifying is going to be bananas. Albon in 6th. Piastri in 7th. The As that are under fire. 8 and 9. And Zhou Guanyu in 10th. Now, looking at this, there are still performances that will be coming in. I pray and I hope the FP2 will not be mad with rain, so that we can see what these cars can do when they will be mostly dry on Sunday. But it's looking like the McLaren are still in chase for that. And this might be Max Verstappen's 4th in a row win in Zandvoort. That is if he can win it. But the McLarens are looking tasty. They are looking feisty. They are looking like a car for war. Meanwhile, the Mercedes are looking like, let us get our upgrade set up. With this upgrade we brought up, let us put it in the right shape, and you see what we can bring. Performance is everywhere. Let's see who has the best performance. But FP2 will be able to give us where these cars lie. That's if we have a lot of dry. And qualifying tomorrow is going to be bananas. The qualifying should be in the rain. But certainly, we are still looking at the 3 teams in the contest. We are looking at the McLaren, the Red Bull, and the Mercedes. That is where those times line up in. But let's see what happens in FP2. Yeah. See, a lot of news in F1 recently that you can hardly shake off, and it starts giving you a headache sometimes because this is a grown man sport. These things are important to know for record's sake what is really going on. And it might interest you to know that the championship table, both drivers and constructors, looks open depending on what these teams do this season. Now, with the movement going on in F1, Ural possibly is taking on us this weekend not to race. It is funny that it won't be funny, the evolving things we would see recently in F1. But certainly it looks very, very funny and ideal. We have Audi Sauber talking to Schumacher against next year. Audi Sauber talking to Schumacher against next year. It will be funny if Mick Schumacher is taken back into F1. It shows that most Mercedes drivers always find their way back, or Mercedes signees find their way back into F1 after he stints with us 2 years and it didn't work. If he's coming back now, it's a good thing for him, but we should be on the lookout for that certainly. The upgrade on the McLaren looks great, but will that approximate to performance this weekend? Well, that I can say, but in FP2, the McLaren are looking pacey, the Mercedes, they are trading paces, both on medium and hard tires. The Mercedes and the McLarens are looking sharp. Though Max Verstappen is a little bit close to them, but certainly we know Max Verstappen in his home race can pull up a stunner. Yes, his last home race, which is Belgium, was not really a stunner. But this one could be a stunner, but we can't wait until the weekend starts. On the FP2, Mercedes showed decent pace. They were fast. Mercedes were coming in first and third at the end of the FP2, with Oscar Piastri coming in second, which shows Mercedes are fast. On the second and third sector, we have Hamilton and Russell ruling, while Piastri is gaining high on the first sector. But these guys look very, very handy. And on long run pace, the Mercedes in the hands of Lewis Hamilton is looking very fast. Very, very fast. We have Carlos Sainz out in FP2 for gearbox related issues for the Ferrari, while we have Nico Hülkenberg out in FP2 because of an accident. He lost his rears and off he went. Bam. But altogether, we can see good pace from the Mercedes, the McLaren, the Ferrari, and the Red Bull. These guys will be the contender for this weekend, and it's going to look very big. This weekend is going to be great. You cannot want to miss it. You don't want to miss it. Be up, be cool. On to the FP3. There are lots of news coming in there, but certainly the development that Red Bull had bought has some big spice in it, but we've not really seen yet. Also for McLaren, the Mercedes bringing up what they brought in Belgium to learn from is also looking like it. So let's look up to after the qualifying. I'll be able to tell you what is up. But certainly it's a race between the Mercedes and the McLaren this weekend. On long run pace, like I said, Hamilton is big on it. The McLarens are big on it. Although Max Verstappen is right in the battle, but he's not looking so sharp. But let's see what happens this weekend. It's going to be elite.